Hello and welcome to LifeScourse Commodity Corner. I'm joined by the author of the weekly, Chris Stadley, to walk you through what's in this week's edition. Before we get into the reads, a quick disclaimer: the content provided on this channel is for informational and educational purposes only. Neither Chris or I are licensed financial advisors, and none of the information shared should be considered as financial investment or trading advice. Please conduct your own research, consider your financial objectives, and consult a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions. Investing and trading in financial markets carries risks, and past performance is not indicative of future results. We are not responsible for any losses or gains that may result from following the content on this channel. And with that, I'll bring in Chris. Happy Friday, Chris. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Formula One
Awesome.
weekend again.
Right, just to quickly recap what we're looking at in this week. So, for all those new to the Commodity Corner, this newsletter is actionable analysis on equities, energies, ags, metals, and other critical assets. And this week covers copper, as well as controversy over the S&P 500. Doge positive for the treasuries is a question mark there. Yen update as well, and another look at gold. So, Chris, please give us a little preview of what to expect.
Sure, absolutely. Excuse me. Earlier this week, I accidentally created some controversy on social media about my outlook on the U.S. economy. So I spent some considerable time clarifying my thoughts on the U.S. economy as well as the S&P 500. And continuing on the U.S. economy, I briefly comment on Doge and how that's already affected the treasury market, and it will continue to influence the treasury markets. And before our readers ask, I did not mention quantitative tightening because that gets priced into the market very quickly. And Jerome Powell, in his speech a couple of days ago, essentially said that there's so many unknowns regarding the economy. So if he can't speculate on Fed policy, then I certainly won't either. And moreover, I think Doge will have a greater, more long term impact than fine tuning of Fed policy. And as for metals, I provide some cautious viewpoints on both copper and gold, given their pretty spectacular bullish run recently. And finally, I touch on Japan and how they just can't seem to get their finances in order and how that will continue to influence the Japanese yen. As you can tell, I only cover four markets this week, but I include a decent chart pack that I think everybody will like. So, please do take a look at that. So, for next week, I aim to cover crude oil, Bitcoin, and a few other important markets. And as always, if you don't already subscribe, it's very easy to do so. Please just go to substack.com, type in Live Squat Commodity Corner, and it will pop right up.
Thanks for that, Chris. Just a quick at the past week, then we've had another FOMC rate decision where they kept rates unchanged as expected. Any views on what the message was from that? What came out of that meeting?
Yeah, obviously they left interest rates unchanged, which is widely expected. Going forward, his press conference was super interesting in the way that, he was relatively evasive about, some of those questions that were thrown at him. And likewise, like I said a moment ago, there's a lot of unknowns, given the tariffs and, he threw out the T word transitory again. So, it definitely seems like these tariffs are going to be inflationary, but nobody has a darn clue on how inflationary they are, and likewise, how they're going to impact the economy. So, we're definitely in uncharted territory, uncharted waters now. So it'll be interesting to see, what he says going forward, and likewise, what they're going to do in relation to interest rates, because everybody and his brother has an opinion on interest rates, and that seems to be kind of thrown out the window for lack of better phrasing. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how we start the second quarter and likewise, roll into the third quarter as well. In relation to not only the S&P, but interest rates, the economy, the trade war, et cetera, et cetera. So,
Well, I think it brings May into focus in terms of the next meeting and the likelihood of them taking any action
mhm.
at that time. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. And we had the Bank of Japan this week. We've had the Bank of England, the Swiss National Bank, a number of central banks there, and they all seem to be saying there's a level of uncertainty out there at the moment that makes monetary policy even harder than it generally is anyway for them
Yep.
to pick through. So yeah, it'd be interesting times, good opportunities for those intraday traders, for investors as well, I guess.
And one last comment too on central banks, like you just mentioned about Japan. Their neighbor to the west, uh, China. They're still in this deflationary cycle, and they just can't seem to get out of it. They've thrown everything at it in relation to stimulus, and they just can't seem to get out of this deflationary spiral. So it will be interesting to see if, how, and when they get out of it, what needs to change, in relation to stimulus packages and all of that. So,
No, yeah, very good point. Good point. Okay, well, on the back of that, have a great weekend. Talking of China, we've got the Chinese Grand Prix coming up this weekend as well. So I know you and I enthusiasts of the motor racing. So yeah, looking forward to that one. So yes, enjoy that, and everyone else enjoy your weekends, and we'll be back next week.